So good morning, everyone. I'm Shreya Iyer, and on behalf of the organizers, Jared Rubin, Jean-Paul Carvalho, and myself, I'm simply delighted to welcome you to St. Catherine's College and to the International Economic Association Roundtable on the Economics of Religion. Over the next day and a half, I'm hoping that we will all be able to engage in high-quality discussions on this relatively new and emerging field of economics research and policy. One has only to look at all corners of the globe today to know that religion matters and that it has consequences today, both for life and for death. As economists, we are, of course, used to writing down theoretical models and testing them empirically on data. And yet so much of what we've seen in recent years with the emergence of religion, religiosity, and conflict defies what some of our neat models might predict. So I'm hoping that today and tomorrow we will be able to use the opportunity of this roundtable to advance and to think more deeply about how we actually see religion shaping our world today and how academic research, whether in economics or related disciplines, may need to adapt to some of these changes. In organizing this event, there are several people to whom I'm indebted and whom I would like to acknowledge formally now. The first is my co-organizers, Jared Rubin and Jean-Paul Carvalho, who have been such a pleasure to work with. Thank you, Jared and Jean-Paul. I would also like to thank Professor Tim Besley, recent president of the International Economic Association. Tim first approached me with the idea of doing this roundtable and the associated book volume over 3 years ago, and he has been a real anchor for us since then. So Tim, thank you very much for asking us to do this, for your support and that of the IEA throughout this process. Professor Sanjeev Goyal, the chair of the economics faculty, and Professor Giancarlo Corsetti, the director of the Cambridge INET Institute, have been extremely encouraging with their advice and support. So thank you, Sanjeev and Giancarlo. Along with them, I would also like to thank especially Anna Hitchin and Marion Roche from the Cambridge INET Institute, who have helped us with so many of the administrative tasks associated with this event, and they've done this with characteristic good grace and sweet smiles. So thank you so much, Anna and Marion, for all that you have done for this event. We are in St. Catherine's College today, and CATS, as it is affectionately called, is a great and abiding Cambridge institution. About 17 years ago now, it offered a shy girl from India an academic and spiritual home. And it has been, for me at least, a wonderful and supportive place to be. So I'm delighted that so many of my colleagues from St. Catherine's are going to be attending this event today. Our master, Professor Sir Mark Welland, our president, Professor Peter Tyler, our bursar, Simon Summers, and among others, my fellow economics fellows. In organizing this event at CATS, we have been greatly helped by Martin Cullum, our conference manager, Lauren Thomas, our communications officer, and Colin Higgins, our college librarian. In fact, Colin, in the glass cabinets on the other side of this partition, he has brought out, especially for this occasion, some of the college's classic economics and religious texts, and these include an 1812 edition of Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations and Thomas Aquinas's Secunda Secundae. Our edition dates to 1506 and offers an extensive discussion of faith and prudence, so I hope very much that you will enjoy looking at some of these during the breaks. Talking of prudence, we are especially grateful to our funders, particularly the John Templeton Foundation, and Dr. Kimon Sargent from Templeton is here today. Thank you, Kimon and Templeton, for being instrumental in funding this event. Also, the Cambridge INET Institute, the Institute for the Study of Religion, Economics and Society at Chapman University, and the Institute for Mathematical Behavioral Sciences at the University of California, Irvine. Thank you all very much for your support. Finally, I would also like to thank all of you for taking the time to come from very far and very near to help make this event a success. It is really so inspiring to see from where I stand right now the greatest scholars in the economics of religion here in Cambridge today. We are privileged to have so many of you here with us, and it does mean a lot to me. We are equally privileged to have so many professors from across this great university supporting the Faculty of Economics endeavors from departments as diverse as divinity, history, engineering, land economy, law, geography, sociology, and the business school. Thank you all so much for coming, and I hope very much that our discussion at this round table will also be a truly interdisciplinary dialogue about religion in every sense. It was the Indian philosopher of religion and great teacher, Sir Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, who wrote a book in 1927 called The Religion We Need. In this book, he defined religion as an expression of the spiritual experience of a race, a record of its social evolution, and an integral element of the society in which it is found. If this is true, then exactly 90 years later, I hope that by the end of this roundtable, we too will have some thoughts on what exactly is the kind of religion that we need today. To that end, I am delighted to introduce and to welcome another philosopher of religion, His Excellency Bishop Marcelo Sanchez Sorondo, Chancellor of the Pontifical Academy of Sciences and Social Sciences of the Vatican, who will speak to us shortly about key points from the Laudato Si, a papal encyclical that strikes me as being at once both religious as well as very scientific. Bishop Sanchez Sorondo was born in Buenos Aires and was ordained a priest in 1968. He was lecturer in the history of philosophy at the Lateran University in Rome, where he became full professor. He was dean of the Faculty of Philosophy at the same university and full professor of the history of philosophy. In 1998, he was appointed Chancellor of the Pontifical Academies of Sciences and Social Sciences by St. John Paul II, who then consecrated him titular Bishop of Vescovio. For his work as a philosopher and distinguished public intellectual, he has won numerous awards from the governments of Italy, France, Brazil, Austria, Chile, and Mexico. Your Excellency, thank you so much for being here, and may I invite you now to speak to us. Once again, on behalf of Jared, Jean-Paul, and myself, a very warm welcome to you all to the International Economic Association Roundtable on the Economics of Religion. Thank you.
Good morning, and I am very happy to be here in this very famous university. Yesterday I just visited the King College just in the moment with the service. Really was a magnificent service. I am very happy. Of course, I want to thank especially Sriya, Jared, and John Paul for this invitation, and also the people of Cambridge, like Marian and Anna. Thanks very much. Really, I am very happy. So I am very interested that people are interested in the message of the Pope. And for this reason, I try to summarize what is the essence of this message, in some sense in relation with the economy. Anyway, I think that the real thing for religion is that today the idea of the Pope Francis is that religion is not possible that we pray together for very different interpretation of God. It's necessary that we act together to defend the human dignity, freedom and peace, and in this sense also the economy, because the economy is in relation with these things. So the general idea of the popes that Pope Francis synthesized in this statement is: we are called to be instruments of God, our Father, so that our planet might be what He desired when He created and correspond with His plan for peace and beauty and fullness. That is to say that Paul VI say more or less the same, and say we are instruments to develop the planet according with his possibilities, his potentialities, the real potentialities that have the planet. And this is the concept, the beginning of the concept of sustainable development. So this is the general idea. After, we can say that the Pope put the subject of the earth and the they call ecological conversion in the center of the social doctrine of the Church. That is to say, with the same level of human person, social justice, spiritual responsibility, and the universal destination of the goods. That is a new concept. That is the social doctrine of the Church have a new extension. That the extension is in relation with the nature. But nature is we know today for the physics that the universe is infinite, and the human being can do nothing with the more important laws of the universe, but only to discover this law. But in the planet, yes. So this is special for our planet. And they put together three concepts: the ideas that come from the Bible and for the faith, for revelation. We say that the human being is image of God, and the ideas that come from sciences, from natural sciences, that is the problem to have the planet, and the idea to come from social sciences, and I want to make a special house to Parta Dasgupta, that is member of the Academy of the Social Sciences, that is the people to suffer the consequence of the illness of the planet is the poor people, the vulnerable people, both of the rich countries and of the countries that are not so rich. So, for the theology question, that is the first things. This is nice because the Pope accepted in a very clear way the idea of evolution. Nature moved themselves to take the end. And curiously, he quoted Teilhard de Chardin, but he quoted in the center, not Teilhard de Chardin that is in the north, but Thomas Aquinas. And I am very happy that you quoted Thomas Aquinas. And very nice text in the comment of Thomas Aquinas to the Physics of Aristotle. And Thomas Aquinas said, nature is not the order that a certain kind of art, namely gods, are impressed upon things, wherewith those things are moved to a determinate end. It is as if a shipbuilder were able to give timbers the wherewith to move themselves to take the form of a ship. That is a very incredible text that really is completely different from the idea of Aristotle. Of the idea of Aristotle, not in the history of animals, that Aristotle more or less said. Okay, so what are this is the dates that we can say come from the theology, we can say other things, but in substance is this. What are the dates that come from the natural sciences and that are adopted by Pope Francis? The Pope goes from a theological beginning centered on the gospel to a consideration and acceptance of the most precise and correct data that the science provides. Francis began this analysis for the first time in the Magisterium by talking about the climate as a common good. This is new, common good, of all and for all. And he defined this at the global level as a complex system linked to many of the essential conditions for the human life. So, and more precisely, he makes use of a scientific notion of words, asserting that a very solid scientific consensus indicates that we are presently witnessing a disturbing warming of the climate system. So, look, this is an idea that the first one to say this come from the Academy of Sciences of the Pope, that are Molina, Nobel Prize winner, and Crutzen, Molina from Mexico, Crutzen from Holland, and Ramanathan from India. So for the completely different part of the world are the first to put this problem, so we can say the Pope in this follow the ideas that come from his Academy of Sciences, of Natural Sciences, we can say. So, well, you know, all these problems that are very incredible today, the change of climate is very clear. It's not clear to what is the cause. So the Pope arrived at the crucial point. The Pope accepts that there are other factors, such as volcanic activity, variation in the Earth's orbit and axis, the solar cycle, that coincide with the global warming. But a number of scientists' studies indicate that most global warming in recent decades is due to the great concentration of greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrogen oxides, and others, released namely as a result of the human activity. That is just the thesis that was produced by Academy of the Science of the Pope. The human activity to use fossil material is the cause of the climate change and of the global warming. And this is accepted by the Pope and have today the authority of a sentence that comes from the social doctrine of the Church because it's put by the Pope. So, you know, this was really very, I remember that when was in the redaction of the document, many pressures of the lobby of oil come from the Vatican to try to the encyclica be very nice, very, very romantic, but don't say nothing about the real problems that we have today in the planet. So, Laudato Si does not only talk about the climate problem, which is not mentioned in the Bible, it also maintains that human activity which use combustible fossil fuels is the main cause of global warming. It seems here that Francis recalling his study in chemistry during his young. Like the natural science do, the natural is this warming phenomenon. Concentrate in the atmosphere, these gases do not allow to warmth of the sun's rays reflected by the earth to be dispersed in space. So very clear, he said, the problem is aggraved by the model of developed basis, and this is a question for economy, basis in the intensive use of fossil fuels, which is at the head of the worldwide energy system. So this is a very strong affirmation that comes from sciences, and but we can say, we can pray, but if the people to have faith, but if the God not make a miracle, if we don't change the energy, it's impossible to change the problem of climate change and the global warming. So this is for the ideas that the Pope take from natural sciences. And from social sciences, he adopted this idea in the end, that the people to suffer the consequence of this is the poor people, the poor countries and the poor people of the rich countries, like the North American with catering problem and the Philippines, that because grow the poverty. The great problem is the poverty, and the consequence of climate change for the poor people is that the poverty is grow and grow. So the poor are the most severely affected. One of the key points is that the intimate relationship between the fragility of the planet and the world's poor. So the Pope speak about the clamor of the planet and the poor people. So we also, in the extreme consequence of this, we have a new form of slaves. The Pope asked to the Academy to study this new form of slaves, and really it's terrible situation in the global world. We have new form of slaves of forced labor, prostitution, traffic of organs, and this is 60 millions of people to suffer are victims of this, and really it's a problem that is a particular problem, but our connection with this. So the Pope conclude this part, here both the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor people. Of course, the encyclica not only is a description of the problems in basis of sciences, in social sciences, but also try to offer solutions. And the general idea is we are still in time to address the problem. So the general solution is the Pope called the integral ecology, and more or less is the umbrella of all this is the sustainable development. And we can say, for the first time in my history, that we have a sort of miracle today, that the ideas of the Pope are in complete parallel of the ideas of the United Nations. When the Pope published the document was just before COP21 and just before the meeting of the approbation of the new goals for these 50 years, and the new goals just are in the line of the document of the Pope. So the idea of eradicate poverty, the idea of to have sustainable development, and this is, and of course to try to have a new energy, clean energy. Also we can use maybe oil, but if we can decarbonize the oil, that is more or less the idea. So this is a very nice quotation of Paul VI. The fundamental idea of the Pope that is considered also for the people of United Nations, like Jeffrey Sachs, Paul VI, the first to speak about the no sustainable development. You remember in the encyclica Populorum Progressio, he say the new name of justice is develop and peace is develop, and today we say sustainable development. This concept is also in the beginning in Paul VI when he speaks about the real potentiality that we need to find in the nature to the good of the human being. So, sustainable development, a new moral imperative. We can say, and this was what the Pope was approved, all things, but I want to finish with a reference that for the ethic, the Pope, and also in this document, the Pope speak about the golden rule, or better, the interpretation of the golden rule that are the Beatitudes. Just yesterday in the King College, the more important text was this of the Beatitudes. So I am very happy to say to you this that was celebrated here yesterday. Blessed are the poor in spirit, blessed are the meek, blessed are they who mourn, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after justice, blessed are the merciful, blessed are the clean of heart, blessed are the pacemakers, blessed are they that suffer persecution for justice' sake, for they is the kingdom of heaven. And the promise of these people for God is they have the possession of land. This is interesting, that the possession of land is for the people that are poor in spirit, not for the rich people to take the land. That is the idea of St. Francis of Assisi. So, and they can call sons of God, and they can see God. Thank you very much.